Charles Vinton's prize $3 million yacht vanished overnight without a trace. As police scrambled to find the Aurora, a trail of deception, storms, and daring thieves unfolded, leading to a shocking discovery that would shake the entire coastal town of Bayshore. The quiet coastal town of Bayshore woke to an unsettling discovery. In the early hours before dawn, the marina was its usual picture of stillness, fishing boats gently swaying, gulls calling in the distance, the smell of salt heavy in the air. But something was wrong. The Aurora, a $3 million luxury yacht that was the pride of the harbor, was no longer tied to its slip. Its absence was obvious. The ropes hung loose over the dock's edge, and the space it once occupied gaped like a missing tooth. Charles Vinton, the wealthy owner, had docked it late the previous night, ensuring it was locked and secured under a sophisticated alarm system. The Aurora wasn't just any yacht, it was a floating palace of polished teak decks, gold-plated fixtures, and custom navigation technology that rivaled that of a small naval ship. Losing it was unthinkable. By the time Vinton arrived at the marina, panic was spreading. Workers whispered in small groups, casting uneasy glances toward the open sea. It wasn't the first time a boat had been stolen from the area, but never something of this scale and value. The harbor master confirmed there had been no alarms triggered and no reports of suspicious activity overnight. Security cameras at the dock appeared intact, but an initial review revealed nothing more than still waters and shadows shifting under the glow of the dock lights. The theft seemed impossibly smooth, almost as if the yacht had vanished into thin air. Word reached the local police within minutes, and a swift call went out to the harbor patrol. Officers arrived with clipboards and cameras, documenting the empty berth and scanning the horizon. They knew time was critical. The longer the yacht remained at sea, the harder it would be to recover. Helicopters were dispatched to sweep the nearby coastline, and patrol boats began crisscrossing the waters, their engines roaring through the morning fog. The townspeople gathered along the waterfront, watching as the search unfolded, their voices a low hum of speculation. Some suggested it was the work of professional thieves who had studied the marina for weeks. Others thought it might be part of a larger smuggling operation. As the sun rose higher, casting sharp light over the waves, one fact became undeniable. Whoever had taken the Aurora knew exactly what they were doing. No random thief could pull off such a precise operation without leaving a trace. The mystery had only just begun, and Bayshore was about to find itself at the center of a crime that would grip the entire region. The investigation quickly focused on the marina's security footage, hoping to find any clue that could explain how the Aurora had slipped away unnoticed. The cameras had been carefully positioned to monitor every angle of the dock, capturing hours of footage on a continuous loop. But when officers reviewed the tapes from the night before, they found something strange: a brief, grainy image of a small fishing boat gliding silently toward the Aurora just after 3 a.m. The boat moved with caution, its engine barely audible over the crashing waves. The footage showed no one on the dock, no flash of lights, and no signs of forced entry. In the dark, the fishing boat's silhouette approached the yacht as if it belonged there. Moments later, the yacht's lights flickered on. The gentle hum of its powerful engines rose from silence, and the Aurora began to ease away from the dock. What puzzled investigators was the calmness and precision of the whole operation. The thieves seemed to have a deep understanding of the marina's layout and timing. They moved the yacht carefully to avoid detection, steering it into the open water without triggering any alarms or alerting the night watch. It was clear this was no impulsive act. It was planned, rehearsed, and executed with expert skill. Maritime experts brought in to analyze the footage speculated that the crew behind the theft must have been experienced seafarers, possibly former naval officers or professional smugglers familiar with stealth tactics. The small fishing boat was likely used to ferry the thieves to and from the yacht, keeping them hidden from view until it was safe to leave. Authorities feared the yacht was being taken far beyond local waters, potentially across international borders where law enforcement would have limited reach. As the investigation deepened, police checked nearby marinas, shipyards, and known smuggling routes, but no signs of the Aurora appeared. The stolen yacht's tracking system, designed to send continuous location updates, had mysteriously gone offline shortly after it left the dock. The sudden silence added to the urgency. Without its beacon, the yacht could easily disappear among the countless vessels sailing the seas. The community was gripped by a mixture of fear and fascination. Questions swirled around the identity of the thieves and their motives. Some speculated that the yacht might be used for illegal activities like drug trafficking or smuggling rare goods. Others wondered if it was an inside job, involving someone with intimate knowledge of the marina's operations. Regardless, every hour that passed without a lead made the police and the public realize how difficult it would be to reclaim the Aurora. The stolen yacht had become a ghost on the water, and its trail was growing colder by the minute. As night fell over the coastline, a heavy storm rolled in, bringing fierce winds and crashing waves that hammered the shore. The storm's intensity made it nearly impossible for any small craft to navigate safely, and visibility dropped to almost zero. Amid this chaos, the maritime tracking system suddenly picked up a faint distress signal. The signal was weak and erratic, cutting in and out as if someone was manually toggling the emergency beacon on the Aurora. Police and Coast Guard vessels immediately changed course, racing toward the signal's coordinates despite the treacherous conditions. The officers aboard battled towering waves and gusting winds, determined to reach the source before it vanished again. Helicopters hovered above, their searchlights piercing the rain and fog. The distress signal suggested that someone on board the yacht was in trouble, perhaps injured or trapped. It was the first real hope in days that the Aurora might be found. When the search teams arrived, however, the scene was puzzling. The yacht was nowhere to be seen. Instead, floating gently in the rough waters was a life ring emblazoned with the Aurora's name. The life ring bobbed silently, soaked and weathered from the storm, but otherwise untouched. No signs of the yacht or any people in distress were found nearby. The area was combed thoroughly, but no debris, footprints, or any indication of a struggle were discovered. The erratic nature of the distress signal and the absence of the yacht led investigators to suspect that the signal might have been a deliberate ruse, a clever ploy designed to divert the authorities away from the thieves' true escape route. Someone was playing a dangerous game, using the storm and the chaos it caused to confuse and mislead the search efforts. Experts analyzing the timing of the distress signal believed it was switched on and off at intervals, possibly to confuse tracking devices and buy the thieves more time. The sophistication of the tactic indicated that the perpetrators were not only skilled seafarers, but also had access to advanced equipment and were highly organized. The storm subsided after several hours, but the mystery deepened. The Aurora remained missing, and the brief beacon of hope had turned into frustration. The police realized they were up against a group willing to outsmart them at every turn, hiding in the shadows and using nature itself as an ally. As the sea calmed, so did the searchers' hopes, but they knew the chase was far from over. The stolen yacht had vanished once again, slipping deeper into the unknown. 2 days after the storm, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source. A retired sailor who often wandered the rugged coastline called the police with a report. He had spotted a large white yacht tucked away in a remote, hidden inlet about 30 miles north of Bayshore. This inlet was notorious for its shallow reefs and tricky currents, places most boats avoided. The sailor's detailed description matched the Aurora perfectly: the gleaming hull, the sleek design, even the distinctive gold trim along the deck. The police knew this could be their best chance to recover the yacht. Authorities organized a large-scale response. Patrol boats, helicopters, and officers with special training moved carefully into the inlet, navigating the narrow, reef-strewn channels. The approach had to be stealthy to avoid alerting anyone who might still be on board or nearby. As they closed in, binoculars confirmed their suspicion: the Aurora was there, seemingly abandoned, resting quietly in the shallow waters. The vessel looked untouched on the surface. The decks were spotless, and no signs of struggle or damage were visible from a distance. When officers boarded the yacht, a strange feeling of emptiness filled the air. The cabins were immaculate, as if cleaned meticulously to remove any trace of human presence. No personal belongings, no signs of hastiness or panic, just an eerie silence. It was as if the thieves had vanished into thin air, leaving the yacht behind. The only clue left behind was a soaked duffel bag found beneath a loose floorboard in the main cabin. Inside were detailed marine charts marked with red circles along the coastline, each pinpointing obscure harbors, hidden coves, and small airstrips. The maps appeared well used, suggesting they were part of a carefully planned route. Investigators suspected these locations were key to the thieves' escape plan or intended destination. The discovery raised more questions than answers. Why abandon such an expensive and valuable yacht in a difficult-to-access inlet? What was the meaning of the marked maps, and where did they lead? Police officers pored over every detail, realizing the complexity of the operation far exceeded their initial assumptions. This was no ordinary theft. It was a sophisticated, multi-layered scheme designed to confuse, misdirect, and outwit the authorities. As the sun set behind the cliffs, the search team prepared for the next phase, tracking the clues on the maps. Somewhere beyond the reefs and hidden coves lay the true secret behind the stolen Aurora, waiting to be uncovered. The investigation into the marked maps soon led the police to a secluded, nearly forgotten airstrip hidden deep within the coastal marshlands. This small strip of cracked asphalt was far from any major roads and seldom used, known only to a few locals and old pilots. The discovery stunned investigators. The airstrip was large enough to accommodate cargo planes, making it a perfect location for smuggling or secret transfers. Police quickly organized a ground team to move in and secure the area before the suspects could realize they were being tracked. As officers approached the site, they were met with an astonishing sight. There, sitting beside a waiting cargo plane, was the real Aurora, gleaming under the afternoon sun as if untouched by the ocean or storm. Its polished decks reflected the sky, and its hull was flawless, a stark contrast to the replica yacht previously found in the hidden inlet. It became clear the thieves had gone to extraordinary lengths to create a near-perfect copy of the yacht, deliberately abandoning the decoy to mislead the police and waste precious time. The scale and planning of the operation were staggering. The stolen yacht had been loaded onto a heavy-duty yacht trailer, ready to be flown out of the country aboard the cargo plane. The thieves' plan was nearly flawless, using the replica to distract authorities while preparing to transport the genuine Aurora to an unknown destination, likely overseas where recovery would be near impossible. The police moved swiftly, surrounding the airstrip and apprehending the suspects before they could execute their escape. The ringleader was a former shipbuilder with deep knowledge of the yacht's design and security systems, which explained the precision and skill involved in the theft and the creation of the decoy. His crew, a tight-knit group of experienced smugglers, had coordinated every detail from timing to transportation, making the operation one of the most sophisticated maritime thefts in recent memory. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. The theft had sparked one of the largest police responses in the region's history, involving boats, helicopters, and dozens of officers working around the clock. As the news spread, the story of the stolen Aurora captured headlines and social media alike, a reminder of how audacious and cunning criminals could be when driven by greed. In the end, the Aurora was safely returned to its owner, and the masterminds behind the crime were brought to justice. But the memory of that dramatic chase, the stormy nights, and the elusive ghost yacht left an indelible mark on Bayshore. It was a story of deception, determination, and the relentless pursuit of truth, one that would be told for years to come.